at some point his air compressor was passing a lot of oil. Look how thick that oil is. That's inside the airbag mount. So that was inside the airbag, just filled with oil. That's nasty. That is amazing. But it's not now because his tanks aren't putting out that kind of oil now. So at some point there was a failure. It sent a lot of oil and then it's just sat inside those airbags for years.
We need to go that way, just the hair, so we can push it up. If you can put, yeah. Let me get under there and try to push it. You just need more at the front end. Yeah, right there. Leverage. So.
Oh, we're gonna hit the. Are we hitting it there?
I think we're going to clear if I turn it.
Is the input shaft going to clear? Or is it going to hit? Is it the input shaft, not the output, the input, the other side? The input side, the engine
This,
side.
you're close over
that,
here.
That we're okay. I
Okay.
think this may touch at some point. I think we may need to twist
Back a
it.
little bit. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Is it hitting over there?
Yeah, I think
You may need to pull it back towards you when you get up higher.
That clutch sticks out pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to be pretty close there.
Stupid tube is tube for nothing.
Just watch it.
Not going
In
anywhere.
case that chain breaks or something.
Yeah,
You don't want your
yeah.
foot under that.
Yeah.
Okay, you're awful close here. You're gonna
Oh,
get
yeah,
the
we're-
bolts. There you go. It's just
Yeah,
a matter
yeah,
of
just-
clearing the bolts.
Yeah, keep going.
You're good now.
Yeah. That's perfect. Okay, stop there. Let me go get the light.
Okay.
Because it's hard to see here.
Whoop, stop. Hold on. Take it up a pump. One more. Stop. Okay. Okay. Push it in a little bit.
Hold it. Let
Yep.
me try to push it. Oh, wait. That's not
Okay. Hold on there.
Yeah, I think let me get a wrench. Is that 9/16?
Should be 9/16.
Starting.
You pulled too much.
This is almost completely flush over here, so
Oh, yeah?
you can
Okay.
you could take it pretty well flush over there too. Is it flush?
Up here, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, almost. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
put my finger in there already, but might be some here.
Yeah, we're about 1/8 of an inch right now, but it's closing. There we go. Look at that. Okay, now we don't want to do any of them tight until we get them all in because sometimes they don't want, you got to
Sure.
be able to pivot it or whatever. We can go to town.
Because I don't know where well, I know some of the long ones go where the bracket is,
That,
right?
all of the long ones probably go where the
Yeah.
bracket was, unless there's a. Okay, Kelly, you want to pull that back gently? Does it move now? fix this today. But looks like the good news is it's just missing. I think there's still thread in there. It's the U-joint on the drive shaft. So let me see if I got an extra one of those bolts laying around. I may. Ah, did I make it too long now? Yes.
Can you come up a little bit?
Don't do the right holes?
Nope.
Here's our load of parts that came in today. So we got our shocks, which we got 4 of them. We need 4 more. Those are the new rubber bushings for them. These are rear wheel seals. New bolts for the brake drums. 1 stud that he accidentally hit with a sledgehammer. Got new wipers for the front seals. New front seals. These are the gaskets that hold in the rear seal on the inner seal on the rear wheels. And then these are the block off plate seal and gaskets that go on there. We got to order 2 more of these. One of them, or 2 of these rings that hold the airbags on, somebody used different bolts and welded them in. And then we obviously broke the bolts taking them off. So we got to get 2 rings because the other one's got things welded into them. But this is almost everything that we're going to need. This will give us most of what we need here for the next day or 2. Look how tore up this wheel seal was. We haven't even knocked it out of there yet. And yeah, I mean, the rubber was just destroyed. The springs hanging out. So, got a new one. So I always put a little Permatex on the outside edge before I drive the seal in. Start packing wheel bearings. This rear bearing goes here, and then there's a little gasket that goes around there, and then this bolts on, that is the seal. It'll bolt on the back side once the gasket and the bearing is in there. But you can't put that in until after this is done. Also on these, you're supposed to put about 1/4 inch of grease on the inside of the hub itself, and it's obviously easiest to do that before you put any bearings in it. So you're not just packing it full of grease, it's about 1/4 inch of grease all the way around. That's it. I've had them where I take them apart and there's just a shit ton of grease in there. These smaller bearings are so much easier to pack. Oh wow! Yeah, we just set up our stuff through the state of Tennessee too. So that's a seal that's on there. When I worked on George's bus, instead of having the seal on there, somebody had took a piece of wood and laid a piece of wood and then put epoxy on it. Because there's like a keyway here, a notch, and they tried to epoxy it over. So there's a piece of wood with epoxy, and obviously the seal failed. So these are block off plates. These go on there, and that keeps the axle oil in there so that the differential oil stays there, and then this stays grease bearings out here. What it really prevents is if the tolerances get off, it stops the wheel seals from leaking because this grease is a lot better at retaining.
Sure.
This is the new piece that I need to put on there.
Nice piece of wood.
I got that aluminum block right there that works really good. On there, and now it's got a brand new surface on it. So. Hold it. Okay, that's good. Two different nuts. One of them has a little dowel that sticks out, and that's the one that's the inner one, and the dowel will stick out towards you. Because once that gets on and you get the preload and everything set, this will go on there. There's that keyway that'll fit in that key.
Right.
So once this locks into that dowel, and it's locked in with the key here, that nut can never spin. So
Sure.
that'll stay. And as long as the outer nut, which is the one that gets torqued down really tight, holds everything tight, it can't come apart.
Right.
So the inner one has the little thing and it faces you. A general rule is if you go like 50 foot-pounds with this thing, rotate it a few times, take it back to 50 foot-pounds again. You can spin it until it starts to bind a little bit if you want to, but 50 is usually a good number, and then back it off like an eighth to a quarter of a turn. But it's really more about feel than anything else at that
Right.
point. I believe the GM book actually says just spin it until it starts to bind and then back it off. I think it's either the MCR or the GM book, I don't remember, but the Timken number is usually easier. And you're gonna kind of spin some of the grease out of the bearings as you go. Too loose is always better than too tight. Or, well, not too loose. Loose is always better than tight.
Right.
But I can really feel it starting to get there. That's just hand tight right now, so we'll get the torque wrench out.
That's what the outside.
That's definitely snug as I get the grease to squeeze out a little bit. See if it's still 50. Moved a little bit before it clicked. Just for the first time, I usually go about a quarter of a turn back. Now we'll get a quarter. It's definitely looser, and then just bring it in so I'm about an eighth where it's going to end up at. And it's all just you can feel this thing, just the tension on it.
Sure.
Just with your fingers. And then you know you're in that torque wrench range as well. Now, when you put this thing on, like right now, that little nipple is exactly in the middle. So if you flip it over, the way that that's positioned, it goes right on. If it ever doesn't go on, it's whichever way it goes to fit the closest to the loose side. You don't want to over tighten it, because that causes crazy bearing wear if you over tighten it. This thing, if you don't use a chisel on it, which somebody has, I think it's a 4-inch. Is this a 4-inch socket? Yeah, 4 inches. two and a half for the front and 4 for the back on the GM.
Where do you buy one of them?
You can find it on Amazon or something. Just call it wheel socket. And you gotta be careful because you'll find a 4-inch one. This one has 6 sides. Some of them have 8. Some buses that work can have 8. So I've got multiple ones that have different. All right. All right, let's work on getting this out. Who gets this one? Nope, it's this one. It's mushroomed over. There's no way we'd ever get a nut on it. You want to just try and throw some vice grips on it first and see if that gets it out?
Yeah. Let me get a crowbar.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Piece of cake. It's
Forgot whose
Oz's
bus it
bus, yeah. Jeez, I might have got it with my fingers, and we waited 10 minutes to get the right vice grips. Unbelievable. Oh, you bent the whole damn thing. You didn't just, yeah, that's crazy. Is you right and I'm wrong? Yeah. It doesn't really matter because the other one just came out. Yeah.
Okay.
So this goes on there, and that rubber seal goes on that new part that we put there, and then it's got a gasket on the inside and outside on there.
How'd that go?
All right, well, that's it for today. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get things finished up on the bus. Everything's just, just the last minute things, assembly and putting things back together. It's going real well. A couple parts we're gonna be short on, little things, but it's stuff he'll be able to finish. Not real concerned about any of that. He's got the skill and the ability to do that. He has an auto body or auto mechanic shop here, so he's very skilled at that kind of stuff. So I'll get all the wheels and hubs on. That's the part he didn't really know about for sure. He works on cars and all kinds of stuff like that, but the big bus is a little bit different. So anyways, yeah, hopefully tomorrow we'll get it finished up here, and then we're gonna head back to Tennessee and enjoy the song.
See him loading up his tools, check the air and all those duels. It's that bus grease monkey, don't you know? Well, he's got a long, hard ride in that pre-war silver sides. Get that bus grease monkey on the road. Well, he's got that hammer down and that 47 Hound. It's that bus grease monkey on the road. He travels all around and he's coming to your town. Get that bus grease monkey down the road. With the propped up engine door, watch that bus grease monkey do his thing. 30 years behind that barn, 'cause it don't run worth a darn. Watch that bus grease monkey make it sing. He knows them Detroits, there's no doubt, upside down and inside out. It's that bus grease monkey, don't you know? Saving buses far and wide in that old blue silver sides. It's that bus grease monkey, don't you know? It's that bus grease monkey, don't you know? Get that bus grease monkey down the road. It's that bus grease monkey, don't you know? It's that bus grease monkey, don't you know? It's that bus grease monkey, don't you know?
Thanks for listening to the whole song. I'm the bus grease monkey, don't you know? If you don't already subscribe to the channel, please do. And if you get a chance, maybe share some of our videos with some of your friends. We appreciate that. Thank you.